All right, now let's move on to the Southwest Division. And the first team up is the Dallas Mavs. Man, the Mavs West Coast scouts must have played an important role on draft night because the Mavs selected 3 players from the Pac-12. At number 18, they had Josh Green, a freshman out of Arizona. He addresses the need for a physical wing defender that can knock down open shots, one of the best defenders in this draft class, and a good complementary piece going forward. He averaged 12 points per game, 4 rebounds, and 36% shooting from 3. He was a highly regarded prospect out of high school, but he struggles creating his own shot off the bounce, and I think that contributed to his draft stock falling. But I think there's a role for him. Now, he is an aggressive straight-line driver, but he has a tendency to be a little bit out of control on his drives to the rim. But overall, he's a solid ball mover. He had a positive assist-to-turnover ratio as a freshman. I like this fit just because, again, Dallas addressed the need for a physical wing defender to complement Luka. Right now, everything or every player, every move that they make going forward is to complement Luka Doncic, who is an absolute stud. That I feel honored to say that I was able to watch him play in the EuroLeague when he was a teenager. And I remember telling all my friends back in the States about him, and everybody told me he was too slow. He was not going to be good. The EuroLeague isn't as good as NCAA. Long story short, I was right. I love telling people I was right. I love telling people that they were wrong about Doncic, that he was judged because of something that was out of his control. Everybody wanted to compare him to Darko Milicic, which Luka had nothing to do with. Anyway, I can go on a tangent about that. But anyway, everything that Dallas is doing going forward is to complement Doncic. And so I thought this was a good pick. At number 31, Tyrell, freshman point guard out of Stanford. To me, this was one of the biggest surprises in all of college basketball last season. He was not a projected one-and-done prospect, but he had a strong freshman year where he averaged about 14 points per game, and he shot 40% from 3, which, if you're a Dallas Mavericks prospect, especially as a guard, you got to be able to knock down the 3 ball. And he's a very confident shooter. And he's so confident that he's not afraid to let it fly early in the shot clock. That will be interesting to see how he ends up fitting in with Dallas because, in order for him to maximize his potential, you're going to have to let him be who he is. And who he is a confident shooter that, like I said, he'll let it fly. He was a little light in the pants, only weighed about 160 pounds, but he has some toughness to him. And it shows even on the stats. Like, he grabbed over 4 rebounds per game. He's not afraid to mix it up. Wasn't afraid to attack the basket. But Dallas's backcourt is crowded with Jalen Brunson and Trey Burke, and not including like Josh Richardson, obviously Luka. JJ Barea is coming back. So Terry could spend a lot of time with the Texas Legends in the G League where they're going to run the offense through him, and he'll probably average 25 a game in the G League. But I think it's a good pick. I think playing in the G League would be beneficial for him because long-term I think he's Barea's replacement. His shooting and ball handling make him a good fit next to Luka, like I mentioned. So Rick Carlisle has been known to be creative with his guard rotation. So I'm just curious to see how everything plays out at training camp because J.J. Barea's contract for $2.6 million is guaranteed. Right now, the Mavs have more players under contract than roster spots, and I've even read they may convert Terry into a two-way, which I don't know if his agent would go for that as the 31st pick, selling for a two-way contract. But they're going to have to make a move. Either way, the guard spot is crowded with Brunson, Burke, and J.J. Barea. So I don't know what's going to happen there. So that's going to be one of the positional battles I'll be checking out throughout the NBA preseason, the short NBA preseason. At number 36, the Mavs selected Tyler Bay, a junior forward from Colorado. This was an absolute steal for the Mavs in the second round. Bay had a first-round grade, in my opinion. He gives the Mavs a versatile athletic wing defender that rebounds, runs the floor, and can serve as a vertical lob threat. I think he's a poor man's Sean Marion, which will make Dallas Mavericks fans really excited because Marion is a fan favorite here in Dallas. I actually live in Dallas. He won a championship. But what Bay does immediately is he improves the Mavs' defense and their athleticism. I felt like Dallas is one of the least athletic teams in the league last year. In a pinch, he can post smaller defenders if needed, but I doubt if he'll get any post touches. But most importantly, he has a nose for the ball. And I think there is some upside as a shooter. He shot 42% from 3 as a junior, but it was only on 31 attempts. His free throw percentage throughout his college career was up and down, so his touch lacks some consistency. But I think that he should be able to develop into a pretty decent shooter. I think his touch is good. I mean, if Brandon Clark can develop into a very reliable three-point shooter in his rookie year, then I think Tyler Bey could have a similar impact. So this Dallas Mavericks draft class, I'm giving it an A. I really like the Mavs. Looks like I'm giving out a lot of A's in the Western Conference as opposed to the East. But yeah, I'm giving the Mavs an A. I just thought they addressed their needs, especially with Bey and Green, and then some of their free agent moves or trades. James Johnson, he provides toughness, and the toughest guy in the league. He's the one that should have been out there fighting Jake Paul, not Nate Robinson. But yeah, James Johnson is the toughest guy in the league, hands down. I would have loved to seen him fight Jake Paul instead of Nate Robinson because Nate embarrassed the NBA. I mean, the worst way to go out. But anyway, James Johnson provided the toughness. Bey and Josh Green provided defense and athleticism. And then Tyrell Terry should be a replacement for Seth Curry and eventually J.J. Barea. So he'll give the Mavs another point guard, combo guard, shooter, additional ball handler to complement Luka. So I'm giving the Mavs an A. All right, it's the Houston Rockets. We don't know what's going on with Houston. I mean, the reports are saying Westbrook wants out, Harden wants out. Doesn't look like they're going to be moved, so they may have to play the season with two unhappy superstars. They brought in DeMarcus Cousins, who I'm rooting for. I mean, I just hate to see Cousins' career just take the turn that it's taken. I mean, he was having a monster season in New Orleans before he got hurt. Hasn't been able to get back on the court. But so much uncertainty going on in Houston. I kind of feel sorry for Steven Silas, somebody who I was rooting for. He paid his dues, and then his first NBA job, he ends up in a situation where the two best players don't want to be there. But they ended up getting Kenyon Martin Jr. at number 52. Most people know him as Kenyon Martin's son. His dad was the first pick in the 2000 draft, I believe. Like his dad, he's a freak athlete, very bouncy. He has upside as a switchy defender, good wing rebounder, and a shot blocker from the wing position. He'll probably spend most of his time with RGV in the G League. He went to the IMG Academy for post-grad. Martin had signed with Vanderbilt out of high school, but then he ended up choosing to go to IMG. He played on their post-grad team. You really don't, at least for me, I don't really know much about the competition that he played with. But I think, like I said, he'll spend a year in the G League. Overall, I'm going to give this pick a C. I give it a C. I don't know. It was tough for me to come with a grade. I'll give it a C. So, Houston Rockets, C. The Memphis Grizzlies had one of the better drafts, in my opinion. At number 30, they ended up working out a deal where they got Desmond Bane. I thought this was a good value pick. I didn't think Bane would get past the Nets, Bucks, or Lakers, but all of those teams ended up trading out of the first round. And then the Grizzlies ended up swapping picks with the Celtics. He just has a defined role. Like, you know what you're going to get out of him. He made 249 threes on 575 attempts. So his 43% from three over his 4-year career, the sample size is legit. I mean, that's what he's going to do. He's going to come in, knock down open shots. And again, if the Nets would have kept their pick at 19, I thought he would have been a good fit. Same thing with the Bucks. I thought he would be able to complement Giannis. And then same with the Lakers if they would have kept their pick at number 28, because all of those teams that have their stars in place are looking for role players that can knock down open shots and provide some gravity. So instead of doing it for Kyrie and Durant and Giannis and LeBron and Anthony Davis, Bane is going to provide some gravity and floor spacing for Ja Morant, which gives the Grizzlies, which makes them dangerous. I mean, Ja Morant is already nearly impossible to defend, but it makes him even more effective if you have another shooter on the floor that teams can't help off of. So I like the pick there. At number 35, they selected Xavier Tillman, a junior center out of Michigan State. Tillman is a undersized but high IQ center that can defend and serve as an additional pick-and-roll partner for Ja Morant when they share minutes. He is a former Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year, and he joins his former college teammate, Jaren Jackson Jr. in Memphis. I like this pick. I think that he's just a guy that's going to be a gritty, tough, rotational player and someone that's able to come in and contribute right away. He may not have like this crazy high upside. He may not pass the eye test as his high flyer, but I think this was a great value pick for Memphis. So I really like Xavier Tillman there. At number 40, they were able to get Robert Woodard out of Mississippi State. He's a strong, tough, athletic combo forward with 3-and-D potential. He shot 42.9% from 3 on 70 attempts, so that's a pretty decent sample size there. What I really like about him is that he only started one game as a freshman, and the next year he developed into one of the best NBA prospects in all of college basketball. It's a testament to me of his work ethic. I think that he could carve out a role as a Jay Crowder type, so I really like what Memphis did here, and I'm going to give the Grizzlies a B+. New Orleans Pelicans, number 13, Kyra Lewis, sophomore point guard out of Alabama. He is an absolute blur on the court, coming off a strong sophomore year where he averaged 18 points and 5 assists per game. I mean, his greatest asset and attribute is his speed. He should be able to come in and collapse the defense and put pressure on defenses early with his dribble penetration. The problem for him is that he's very unlikely to start. At the beginning of the year, I mean, I can't imagine they pencil him in as the opening day starter with Eric Bledsoe there. So he's probably going to back up Bledsoe. And I don't even know if Lonzo Ball starts. If they decide to start Bledsoe and J.J. Redick, then Lonzo and Kira be backup. I don't know what's going to go on there. That's, again, another situation where I'm very interested in the positional battles. But the thing about this pick is I'm not a fan of the Steven Adams and Zion Williamson front court. I think in order to maximize Zion's skill set, then you need to pair him with a floor spacing big. Adams doesn't space the floor. And I think even for Lewis, if he is playing on the floor with Zion and Steven Adams, then where are his driving lanes? I think that he's going to face a congested paint. I just really don't like the pick. And then, I mean, it seems like they're pretty much committed to Adams because they gave him a 2-year extension before he even played a game. So, it's going to be tough for him. But I like the pick. I like his upside. He shot around 36% from 3 in his 2 seasons at Alabama. So, overall, it's just going to be interesting to see what they do with Bledsoe, Lonzo Ball. Then you still got Nikhil Alexander-Walker, who was a rookie there last year. New Orleans just has a lot of George Hill is still there. I'm curious to see what goes on in New Orleans. So overall, I like the pick. I like it a lot. As far as the fit with the team, I don't like it, but I'll go ahead and give the Pelicans a B. All right, the last team in the Southwest Division is the San Antonio Spurs, and Devin Vassell was their pick at number 11, sophomore wing forward out of Florida State, arguably the best wing defender in the draft. He averaged a steal and a block a game. He has a high upside, but I also think he's a safe pick. Shot 41% from 3 in his 2 years at Florida State. I think in order for him to reach his maximum potential, he'll have to get stronger. He only weighed around 180 pounds last season. And now if he improves his ball handling and becomes a more aggressive slasher, I think, this is just my opinion, but I think he could develop into a 3-level scorer to go along with his defense. Best case scenario for him is he could have a Paul George type career or type impact, but it's just all dependent on him getting stronger and being more aggressive at attacking the basket. I mean, his free throw rate was extremely low. He did not get to the free throw line a lot. And in order to maximize his potential, I think that's what he needs to do. But as I mentioned earlier, I think he's a safe pick. At the minimum, he should be able to at least have a Trevor Ariza type career. So I like that pick for San Antonio. Then at number 44, they got at number 41, they got Trey Jones out of Duke, point guard, sophomore. Jones is a solid floor general, game manager, averaged 16 points and 6 assists as a sophomore. He's a very good on-ball defender. But more importantly, he's an improving shooter. Shot only 26% from 3 as a freshman. And there were times where I thought he was just an absolute liability in the half court. He did not compliment R.J. Barrett and Zion at all his freshman year. I thought there were times where teams were crowding the lane and leaving him open. But over the summer, he worked on his game and he worked on his shot and improved to 36% from three as a sophomore, which is a big jump, 10%. I mean, it might have been like 9.8% or something like that, but rounding up to 10, that's a pretty big jump. So I'm buying his shooting upside. I think he's going to be a very good, respectable backup point guard that has a long career, and he seems like a Spurs fit. So overall, I'll give the Spurs a B. So those are my draft grades for the Southwest and the Northwest. Once again, this is Rafael Barlow with the NBA Draft Junkies Show. Nothing but net channel on Dash Radio.